Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, the show where you come for your rambling geeky download. My name's Tommy, and I'm delighted, as always, to be joined by my friend and co-host from across the pond. It's our resident hot dog lover of the pod, DL. How are you, mate?
I forgot about that part.
The hot dogs.
That was the only thing it's because I texted you about that, not in my notes.
You texted me about
I was looking,
dogs.
I was like, fuck, I thought there was something else. But I do, you know what? It did make me
But
want
they've got protein.
fucking hot dog.
Yeah,
and I'm on
too.
this like fucking kick where I'm not supposed to eat bad things. And I was like, relish on a hot dog right now would fucking
bit of mustard, a little bit of TK.
Now I gotta go look at the notes that I sent you, actually.
It's pretty funny. You were texting me and I was like completely indisposed, and I was like, I literally can't text you about this right now.
Yeah.
How are you, mate? How you doing?
Oh man, like I'm pretty good. This movie was a fun one.
Great.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting this, but look, I'm a little, I'm enjoying this pod as a moment of reprieve because I'm a bit overwhelmed with life, but it's always good to.
Yeah, I was apprehensive about messaging you about doing this. So for anyone, we're going to start prefacing these a little bit up top just to let you guys know. But we are doing a trilogy in the lead up to Halloween of unintentionally funny horror movies. And when I was messaging you about this, I was really apprehensive because you don't like it when I text to do dumb things.
No, well, like, I guess, like, you know what it might be? I just don't find movies made in the 80s that are bad as funny to watch.
Okay.
Because I'm like,
you don't have that nostalgia for it.
It's not even that it's the nostalgia. It's like something about a more modern movie that was trying to be good that's just terrible is funnier to me than a movie that looks like it's old and I don't quite believe ever was going to be like, expected to be really, really good and like polished. Whereas like a movie with Mark Wahlberg made in 2008, I'm like, okay, they wanted this to be something. And
there's a lot of fun trivia
and it's just like not like
about The Happening 2008, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later on.
Go.
But I think top level, like saying unintentionally funny horror movies could be bad, but then
I'll tell you what, it's fucking accurate.
This stuff. I'm gonna save it for when we actually get to talk about this movie because. Wow, I had more fun with this than you really should ever have with an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Hey guys, if you want to stick around and listen to us banter about our days, feel free. There are going to be time codes in the description. You can jump around. You can get to the main topic. We are gonna have a little chip and chop and change from our usual routine. We're not going to be talking about Have You Heard? We might be expanding that into a separate thing of its own. We're not going to be doing it in the podcast right now, but keep sending us your news that you see on Instagram or wherever you see it. Because we love it when you do. But those time codes will be, as always, prescribed by friend and podcast master of the pod, Mr. Matthew Bliss. Stick around. We will give you his details at the end of the show. DL,
yes.
Mate, can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
Before we get into this, I always like to ask you like the hard-hitting question.
Yes. I can't wait.
If we were rating Mark Wahlberg on a scale of 1 to the amount of stars people should give this podcast, aka how Boston his accent is, how Boston would his accent be out of 5?
Full Southie, mate. That was a bad accent, but like
that was terrible. I didn't even
try and do an accent, to be fair. How do you say Southie? What is it? What do they
Donnie.
Say? Car. In the car.
Yeah.
In the car.
Caps.
It's like Martin Scorsese when he's in fucking The Departed.
So 5 stars is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
People should give 5 stars.
I'm the guy that does my job. You must be the other guy. Yeah, 5 stars. If you're not giving us 5 stars, you're not doing your job.
Get out of my face.
You're not doing your job. Fucking idiots.
You need to keep this energy all the way through the podcast.
I'm not sure I can. Because I think Marky lost his accent halfway through looking at the wind.
There is one line where he goes, "What?" I don't think I can ever quite get over the look on his face.
Does that about like 12 times, bro. What? It's like more face close-ups to Marky Mark saying what than Frodo getting stabbed in The Lord of the Rings.
Oh my days. That is a lot.
You know what I mean? Like every other moment in The Lord of the Rings is a close-up of Frodo's face as he gets like hurt, stabbed, some kind of emotional trauma.
Emotionally hurt. Yeah,
like anyway.
So, but guys, going back to the original question.
Yeah, sorry.
You can give us 5 stars in app. It's right there with your Spotify, with your Apple.
5 stars, assholes.
5 stars. Give us those 5 stars. That's two Boston.
Solid.
In this, he's like he's high school teacher Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, but you wanted
talks like this.
You wanted 5 stars. You have the most Boston.
Okay, all right.
Boston.
So it's good cop, bad cop over here.
Yes.
I like what we're going for. Please do, guys. We love it when you do. And if you know anyone who likes this type of thing, pass the pod to them. DL, have you passed the pod to anyone this week?
Yes, I totally did. 100%. I did.
I remember when you passed it to your boss that one time, your old boss.
That was
you were
bad.
Like,
No,
I can't believe I did this.
No, somebody like ratted me out that I had one. I was actively hiding it from my boss. Anyway.
Oh man, imagine going back and him listening to the tapes and being like, "Oh my god, this
probably just be like,
I need to get rid of this guy.
Guy has no talent." It's like that. What is that movie with Adam Sandler where it's like, "We are all dumber for having listened to you." Billy Madison.
Oh, I've never watched.
You've never seen Billy Madison?
Nah.
There's a really funny part where it's like a montage of him giving this big speech where you never hear really any of the full points. And at the end, the judge, and it's like him doing a debate. And at the end, the judge just like looks at him and he's like, "That was complete nonsense. We are all dumber for having heard it, and you fail completely," or some shit.
I'm gonna add this to one of our many anthologies. We do have an anthology which is movies from our childhood we'd like to go back to. So let's add it into that, shall we?
It's pretty crazy how like literally for 20, 30 years he's literally not changed any bit of the character
since the late 90s.
It's the same fucking guy. Maybe it's a multiverse, or maybe it's like a universe.
Imagine the Adam Sandler multiverse.
Yeah, it's just like a universe of like this guy, his name changes, but he keeps doing dumb shit.
That would be great. It's like I just imagine him like that what's that Eddie Murphy where he's like the clumps or whatever and all sitting around the table, it's all Eddie Murphy. Yeah. Just ADR'd into different positions. I can imagine all of his characters, like little Nicky, the water boy.
Yeah, like actually, now I would never watch that movie. Oh my god!
Wait, the water boy?
No, like that movie where they're all the same.
The clumps. God, I've never seen it in the first place. I wouldn't. Would never go back to it.
Did you see that Disney's like there's a big debate happening?
No.
Like Bob Iger. We always talk about how I lose money on Disney stock, and it keeps happening.
Keeps happening
because I keep buying.
Why do you keep
I'm
buying?
long, baby.
It's gonna come back up at some point.
Well, I'm just like lowering my cost basis, I think, but really it just keeps going down. So I am lowering my money.
Literally just losing money. It's great.
But
it'll come back up.
That's my hypothesis.
Okay, all right, good.
My long-term hypothesis. Bob Iger's come back and he was supposed to like turn it around and all that shit. He hasn't really, and
he'll get there.
I mean, like it's early, but they've debated there's a big debate and a big push saying like we should like just become a gaming giant.
Oh, interesting.
And I was kind of like thinking about it. I'm like, they're like, maybe we should make a big because he's Bob Iger's the acquisition guy.
Yeah.
Like maybe we should just acquire a studio and become like, instead of being a big licensor, we just freaking roll these things out.
Interesting.
And
they must make a ton of money off their licensing though.
They probably do. And so the question becomes like, what's the benefit? Like, are you going to be able to just release more high quality games faster if you own the whole process? Maybe.
Interesting.
But I think it might be a good pivot.
Bringing games out faster never helps. Never works.
Well, I think more games faster. Not like.
So you just have more in development at one time. Interesting.
Yes.
But then
you get like
well, think of all the IP
and you're
they
more
have.
you're like they're more accountable to you. Whereas like they're like, we'll get to it. And then they finally get to it and it's like shit.
Yeah, think of all the IP they have. Star Wars, that's one. Other things, Marvel things. They could make movies, games, things.
Disney. Like all the Pixar shit.
That's all true. Yeah, imagine like a side scroll.
It's actually not that many IP.
Toy Story.
Not that much IP for video games.
They have a lot.
I mean, like I don't know.
They were talking about they've got Prey 2 in development like this week, and I was like,
is that Disney?
Well, do you remember? Yeah, remember we watched Prey on Hulu.
Yeah, I know it, but
it's Hulu, and that would make a great video game.
True, actually.
Like
right.
you'd love that type of
stuff.
thing. Stalking Menace. I mean, I'm not just explaining you here.
Calling me pedo?
I'm calling you Geppetto.
Anyway, inside joke. Sorry, guys.
DL, what have you been up to this week, mate? What have you been up to? What have been
I've been watching the UFO files, and I'm not convinced.
Ooh, wait. Let's go back.
I don't believe these fuckers.
We talked about this last week. Encounters, right?
Yes.
So
UFO
what are you
encounters.
up to?
I'm on the fucking second school in Welshland.
Welshland. In Wales.
In Wales. Yes.
Okay, good.
Welshland in Wales.
Welshland.
You know what I mean? Like they're just like
so
all these schools. I'm like, dude, these are fucking kids.
We've only seen 2 episodes, and last week you were talking about the one
African
where
one?
Yes. So you weren't convinced. I was more convinced by them, by the kids who thought they'd seen an alien, than by the dude who was like, it was a rumor, I made it up. He was like a meth addict. He's chewing his own face off.
He did seem kind of cooked, but it's also like, well, maybe this is the guy that like would actually make some bullshit up as well.
I mean, he absolutely would. Like, I was no doubt in that. But at the same time, I feel like he's so cooked that he probably would have forgotten.
Also, maybe he just like was paid to say the opposite.
Or maybe he just said the opposite because he wanted to be a dick. Like, he looks like the kind of guy who would.
Literally. I saw nothing.
I made it.
I made it all up to get out of what do we call it? What is it? What is it? The language that we speak.
Yeah, the language class.
No, but it is a South African.
This is not a bad accent from you.
It is.
You're bringing all the accents.
Literally,
today.
it is called Afrikaans. Anyway, point being,
I thought he was quite compelling.
Sorry,
I thought
he was just trying to get out of
Afrikaans
Afrikaans class.
I don't. Yeah, I thought like
no, it wasn't Afrikaans. It was the Zimbabwe language, but I forget what it is.
There is literally like a psychological effect whereby you can have a joint experience with people that never actually happened. It's like an actual thing. It's like it's not diffusion of responsibility, but it's something like that. I forget the name of it. It's going to really annoy me. But as in like
so you're all just full of shit.
But it's like, so the reason why eyewitness testimonies aren't as reliable as you might think they are is because like your memory can change. You could say something exactly as it happened, like moments after, 10, 15, 20, a day, 2 days later, your memory can be manipulated and changed like through anything, through logic, through overthinking, through different things. So like maybe they just all made each other believe they saw something.
I don't believe they saw a fucking alien.
I don't know. Not the way they explained it.
None of that was like at all believable.
What's the alien movie Paul with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost? I'm like, that dude didn't just hop out and was like, "Hey guys, let's eat Doritos together."
Yeah, and like the Welsh,
hey guys,
the Welsh one when they like all these movies are on in the 80s, like or whatever time period it was in the 90s, I forget.
Well, there was loads around that time.
Yeah, it was like 100%. That's what's happened.
Flight the Navigator. They're
all
there.
Just be
E.T.
Can't just be bored in Wales like at recess. Like, of course you're gonna make some shit up. Sorry, I've been cursing.
Well, if I was being very British, I would say they'd be like shagging sheep because that's just how us Brits see the Welsh. But
also very bored. Like if your options are shag sheep or be bored, I would make up aliens too. Like those are the two options.
How old are the kids in the Welsh one?
Young.
So like similar
yeah,
age to the Afrikaans
unbelievable, like similarly young to the point where I do not find them credible.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what's the one in the middle? Because we've only seen two.
Well, there's the first one that I actually did believe.
Yeah, I believe the first one as well.
And that one sounded believable. It was like it's a UFO. It's not like there was a little green guy that hopped out.
Well, it had like a legitimate like dude there who was like, yeah, I'm from like army bases, and yeah, this happens all the time.
Well, I mean, this Wales one apparently has something to like with NASA. I don't remember. I haven't finished it, but that's the only one. There's another episode that I haven't seen. Anyway, that's what I've been up to. I'm not buying it.
Up to season 3, episode 3. Then, would you recommend so far?
I mean, it's definitely like I would recommend it as like a intriguing like humanity study.
Interesting.
Like I don't know that I would recommend it as like is this going to convince you that aliens visited? But like that's not necessarily why you watch it. You might be like kind of trying. Like part of the fun is assessing, are these people full of shit?
Yeah, true.
You know, like
isn't that a lot of fun?
Like that's part of the fun. So I would say, yeah, I recommend it.
Isn't that a lot of fun? I do that with any documentary I watch. Like the whole time, I'm trying to find out who is the most full of shit the whole way through. Like regardless, everything from like they just released a second season of that Southern Murders thing. We talked about it ages ago.
Murdoch.
Yeah, the murder.
That guy's just a drug addict trying to get away with a murder. That's like because you're like, 100%. What is going on here? You're like, oh, he's just really that stupid.
But then he dies
clearly.
at the end of it, if you remember. So like the next season must be looking at who killed him.
He doesn't die.
Yeah, he did.
No, not the main guy. You're talking about the son.
No, I think the main guy. Oh wait, no, sorry. Yeah, you're right. I am talking about the son. Yeah.
Who did
I mean the main kid who was like fucked up all the time. But like even with that, I'm like the whole way through, I'm like, who's full of shit here? But then the annoying thing with those,
I think that one was pretty clear.
Yeah,
I knew who was full of shit. It was the main dude.
Yeah, everyone's full of shit.
Do you remember Icarus, the documentary? Did you see that?
No, which was that?
About the well, I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it.
Come on.
That was part of the joke.
Okay, all right.
Because it's like,
good joke, bro.
Who was full of shit in Icarus? It's about like the spoilers for Icarus. It's about the Winter Olympics at Russia just like lied the entire thing. Like, who do you think was full of shit in that? It's like, well, Russia. Literally the entire thing's about how they were caught lying.
Well, I've been doing a fun thing this week, DL. Let's switch on quickly from this nonsense. I've been reliving my youth in many ways, and there is a brand new season of Futurama coming out on Disney. Now, we talked about Disney IPs a moment ago. This is certainly one they could make an incredible game out of. I don't know what it is, but I've always just loved Futurama. There's something different about it. Like, it's a bit like Family Guy to me. Like,
they're all very like similar in that way.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
but like you're right,
Irreverent
Futurama
humor.
has its own like kind of taste and flavor.
I think the great thing about Futurama is that because it is set so far in the future, like you can do whatever you want, and like how can you question it? You're just like, yeah, sure, there are mutants in the sewers. Like, why not?
I think the best thing about Futurama is its name.
Okay, why?
Futurama. What a good name for a cartoon show about the future. That's funny.
The future.
Yeah, it's perfectly adequate.
It feels like ripped straight from one of those schlocky
Yeah.
nonsense TV shows from the 80s.
That's why it's perfect.
Yeah, it's fabulous. But the new season's great, man. Like it's I think pretty much the entire cast has come back. It's like pitch perfect. The only thing that slightly upsets me about it is that the way the original series ended was so perfect. Now, I don't know if you remember the ending of the original series is. So what happens is effectively Fry and Leela get like frozen in time. It's hard to say. Get frozen in time.
Yes.
And they live out their lives together to a ripe old age. They do everything they've ever wanted to do together. And just as the episode's about to finish and you think they're going to, like pass away or whatever, stuck here, the professor comes through a wormhole and has worked out how to stop everything being frozen in time. It's just those two. Everything else is frozen. And the idea is that if they go with the professor through the wormhole, they'll forget everything that happened to them, but they'll go back to the beginning and relive it all again. So it's almost like it's the perfect way for a series to end and you be, coerced into restarting the whole thing and carrying on watching all the way through. It's a circular, it's like a perfect circle to the end of it.
Ouroboros?
Yeah, basically, literally. Yeah.
OB?
It's our
boy OB?
Your boy OB. I was talking about Loki now. Yeah. No, it's literally that. And it's a beautiful, really well thought out ending for a show that you'd never think would be that deep or sensitive. And then it just comes back and you're like, all right, I guess we're back then.
Sounds good. Love it.
But like, I still really like it. It's got all the same sensibilities.
Sounds like you're excited to watch the season anyway, though.
I am still excited. It's fun. Like, I'd always recommend going back and watching things that are rebootuationed. I don't know how we're talking about this.
Just like restarted, really.
It kind of restarted
because it's like the same people, but
it was a perfect ending.
Yeah,
it's not a rebootuation.
It's the same actors. It's the same voice.
Everything's the same. What am I talking about?
It's sort of
restart. It's a restart of that season. Universe. Yeah. I like it. It's a lot of fun. Have you ever watched it?
I have, like on and off, never religiously. I always like it though when I watch. It's kind of like South Park for me.
Okay,
like, I don't religiously watch South Park, but I do enjoy it when I watch.
Yeah, no.
It kind of just feels like this too big to conquer thing for me.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean?
It's not though. It's only like 6 full series.
No, I didn't know that. That's fair. I guess
there's like a couple of movies thrown in there as well that are series.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh well, interesting. Good to know. Then I'll maybe I'll give it a go because it's
you
not
barely need to watch the movies as well. They're like.
But I have a more important question for you.
Please.
Is Marvel back?
Oh, good question.
Like I've enjoyed hating on Marvel.
A Marvel thing is good.
A singular property is good.
Talking of Ouroboros.
Yeah. Do we think that like Loki season 1 or season 2 episode 1 was last week, and I think it's safe to say we both liked it.
Oh, it was insane.
Yeah, it was really good.
I love what they're doing with the show. Go and check out my YouTube video for Podcast Assemble on YouTube, all about how I believe Loki is going to introduce the X-Men. I don't, after watching this, think I'm entirely right going back to my video, but it could still prove me wrong. It could still prove me wrong.
So do you think Loki season 1 is going to try and expand? Season 2 is going to try and expand the lore, or do you think they're going to keep it intimate the way they've been keeping it intimate?
I feel like
because they have like kept it pretty intimate to the characters and their problem, and like and that's part of the beauty of the show. I think that it's like this you're like
it's in like a different universe,
this like bureaucratic kind of weird little with a bunch of characters that feel like not as important to the broader MCU but more real.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
It does. Yeah,
like
I think they're going to make Jonathan Majors more of a threat. That's got to happen at some point. We talked about the ramifications.
And he already is
of the Secret Wars. Potentially last week. What the? Wow.
It's early.
Jonathan Majors. I may have slipped up saying that. I should have said Kang the Conqueror, shouldn't I? Making Kang the Conqueror more of a threat than he already is. You know what? The thing I thought while I was watching this? Yeah. I flicked it on and like I was so excited for it, but then like my brain went, oh, hang on a minute. Everything Marvel's been crap recently. Why am I excited? And I level set my expectations back down to 0. And I was sitting watching it. I was going, why isn't everything Marvel this good?
It's just good writing.
Because it is so well written.
It's good writing.
Good characters.
It's just like such better quality writing.
And I don't understand how.
And good acting, and good. Yeah.
How is this just like on its own, out on like a little pedestal, and everything else around it is just crumbling?
It's a good question, but I think I don't know. You'd have to look at the writers' room. Is it the same?
I think
people?
they got the Rick and Morty writers in for it.
No, but I am curious. Is it the same people?
Yeah,
Can't be all the same writers as
a lot of
the
the same writers. A lot of the writers from the first season have gone on to bigger and better things.
Of Marvel.
Some are still with Marvel, and some have gone on to more exciting roles. But like, it's just so compelling, and I think we should do a full episode on it when we get the opportunity, when it's all wrapped up, because I still think this can have bigger ramifications for the MCU. I think it is in a pocket on its own, but like, as you see, all the branches are starting to like feed into different universes. When are they going to cross with whatever the current MCU one is, and the X-Men one? And
I also think Tom Hiddleston is just like a really good lead. So
he's so good.
When you compare that lead to the other leads in these movies and these shows, like, he's just way better. So like, why is it better? Because he's better.
He is better, and he's more compelling.
Yeah.
He's got like a charisma to him,
and his arc is more compelling.
Speaking of incredibly compelling MCU / former MCU lead men, I watched an incredibly fun thing. Recommendation from friend of the show, Riggs, who was on a couple of weeks ago. He recommended that I watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Now, my queue. It's one of my long-standing in
me
queue.
Too.
Netflix in queue movies.
It had been sat there for so long, and I was like, I need to watch this at some point.
It's kind of like, how is the licensing not expired for this, and why isn't it on something else by now?
Well,
that's the thought I had.
That's what you think, and I think I ended up paying like $5 to rent it because I was like genuinely so keen to watch it. It's really fun. It's like so Shane Black. Now, if you don't know what that means, go and watch like Iron Man 3, go and watch any of his other films. Like, there's a voiceover, there's cuts to like the flashbacks and flash forwards, and it's like very, 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 very Shane Black, but it's a lot of fun, and it's very of its time. I had it's
90s movie, right?
I think it's late 90s, early 2000s. It's Robert Downey Jr., it's Val Kilmer. I don't actually remember who the female lead was. Big fun though. Do you know the general plot of it?
Isn't it like I did at some point, but I've forgotten? Is it like a spy or something?
No, it's this dumb setup. So Robert Downey Jr. is a petty criminal, and he accidentally, while running away from the police, runs into an audition for a role for a movie, and he gets taken out to Hollywood, and he basically gets taken under the wing of this dude who is a private eye, an investigator. And it's how this story unfolds around them. That's sort of like within that circle they've been brought into, but also sort of bigger ramifications for Hollywood. It's fun. It's different. And I was...
Bang Bang. After being mistaken for an actor, a New York thief is sent to Hollywood to train under a private eye.
There you go. All the things.
Potential movie role.
It's great. I had a lot of fun with it. I'd highly recommend going to
very, very odd.
A while ago, we were talking about doing buddy cop movies. And this isn't quite buddy cop movies.
Close enough, though.
It's very close.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of the sensibility of a buddy cop movie. I'll give you that. Have you got one last thing you've been up to, DL?
UFOs, Loki. Honestly, I didn't do much watching this week.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what else. I got a couple more minutes of that Beckham documentary, but I didn't really make much progress there.
I think I'll probably end up talking about that next week. The partner's really into it. We've watched 3 episodes.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far. I honestly haven't even. I think I've made it through 1.
Hooked. It depends though, because I think you get into the story of like how they're doing it's a bit like The Last Dance. So because he plays for teams that do insanely well, like all the things in his personal life they are sort of juxtaposed by these amazing things that are happening in his like soccer life, football life. So it's this really compelling, like he's having this torrid time, people hate him, but the team are doing really well. So like, how do people respond to him when he's doing so well? It's interesting. It's good. Yeah. And like he's David Beckham. He's like very charismatic. He's just a really good looking bloke. So like a lot of the time you're just like, I see how you get away with all this stuff,
but was he that controversial?
Oh, watch it. Yeah,
it's interesting.
There's some serious controversy about him. So like, I'm not ruining it. I don't know if I'm ruining it.
Don't ruin it. But like, I know that he's a big star. And at
the end of the first episode, there was a huge moment in his footballing career that
I haven't finished it then.
2 full years of his life, he was the most hated man in the UK.
Oh, wow.
Like literally,
but
more hated than politicians.
But the UK, man, you guys turn on them.
Yeah,
you turn on them
they
quick,
flip
bro.
And flop.
And also the media is pretty gnarly out there, man. Like literally killed like a princess,
and he's getting all this treatment.
Yeah,
it's the time before Instagram and all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, ooh, like
brutal.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it.
Yeah, there are all these like really slimy, like paparazzo following
and they're
around,
interviewing him.
Yeah, they're interviewing him on the show.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this person ruined my life.
And like, does David Beckham know that they're being interviewed?
Surely. I mean, he must have like editorial rights.
Maybe not.
Surely. My question is, so we've seen 3 of the 4 episodes. Where is it going to end in his footballing career? Because
It's only 4 episodes long.
yes, and I wouldn't be terribly surprised. Like, this has got a lot of traction. It's gone kind of viral. People are talking about it. Like,
There's more to come.
Would they come back and do a second season of this?
No.
The only thing that really annoys me is that the guy who's interviewing him is like this American dude, and he has no idea about any of this stuff. And he's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, he kind of just like sounds really dumb,
and
in the background.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Then there's not a lot of like insightful questions from him.
not in the slightest.
Like,
and he's like, he's interviewing Victoria,
Yeah.
and wow, he's dumb in the nicest possible way. But you just think it would be useful to have someone who had any insight into the world that he was.
What is it
involved
from?
in.
What is it from? Ted Lasso, Grimm
Yeah.
from the Independent,
Oh yeah.
like him, Trent Grimm from the Independent.
Oh, very
him in
good.
there interviewing.
What, is he called Trent Grimm?
I think it is
Trent something.
Trent something like with a G.
He's
Or
a very good character in that show.
yeah, he's so good.
Have you seen all of Ted Lasso?
No, I never finished the last season.
Interesting.
I should.
So you've only seen most of the first episode, so are you not feeling it right now? You're not.
I'm just caught up in this. Like, I don't really care that he's dating a Spice Girl. Like, I can't get past that part. I mean, it's interesting, but I'm also like,
it's going to flip to the sports bit soon.
I want more sports.
The interesting part of it is that she inadvertently affects some of the big sporting decisions that happen in episode 2 and then 3.
Okay.
As in, her being part of his life makes some people less interested. Yeah, interested in having him as
You mean the coach?
You'll see.
Like, it seems fairly obvious.
Well, you say that, but there's other facts as well. It's interesting. I think it's not stuff that I didn't know, but it's certainly an insight into little bits that I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And apparently they talk about the affair quotation marks as well. So
well, I've heard about that.
I didn't know anything. I didn't have any idea about that.
So I've heard about it because I saw it on Instagram. Like, I heard that she she made a statement about it.
Interesting. Well, the part that was a bit. She was like, "Can't wait for that bit," and I was like,
"Can't wait for that bit."
I was like, "I can't wait to see him win the treble with Man United." And she's like, "I can't wait till he cheats on his wife." I was like, "Mate, like, take a deep breath."
Jeez, Louise, man. All right,
last bit then from me.
Yeah, what do you got?
Last bit from me then is, so I have been working on a labor of love for a little while, and I've just released it on YouTube. It's a video which I have aptly named the moment that almost flatlined Scrubs. And to do that, I've dived headfirst back into a few of my all-time favorite Scrubs episodes, series. I've been building up for a little while now. I used to watch Scrubs minimum, like all the way through once a year.
Wow.
Minimum.
Big fan. Uber fan.
Used to love it.
Super fan.
It's
Flying Eagle fan.
Flying Eagles. Yeah. It's about 10 years since I've actually watched it.
Okay.
So we're at the point now where we're coming to the end of Friends again, and I'm like, we are going to do this. So I've been prepping myself. So a lot of the research that's gone into this video, please go and check it out if you're interested. I put a lot of time and effort into it. I really like the video, and it's a bit of a labor of love.
Okay.
It's some people like, Star Wars. Some people like Marvel.
You're a big Turk guy.
I like Scrubs.
Yeah.
No, I do love those things too. But this is like, I think this is getting something out that I've been wanting to say for a little while.
About Scrubs.
Did
you ever watch the post Scrubs? What's
season 9? I mentioned it a couple of times.
Is it still Scrubs? Do they call it Scrubs or do they call it something else?
So I did a bit of research on this
because there's like a couple characters in it, barely.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
I did watch that season.
So
it's James Franco's brother.
Yeah, Donnie Franco.
I actually found him quite funny in it.
Did you? I hate it.
I can't remember.
I hate his face.
I can't remember if it was really funny, but I did remember laughing at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not funny at all.
Yeah.
It's bad. So the interesting thing about that is, so the creator Bill Lawrence,
he's got a hot take there.
I don't hate him.
He's got an opinion.
He created this amazing ending for season 8 of Scrubs, which, Scrubs up to season 4 was meteoric, fantastic show.
Yeah.
Their season 4, 5, watch my YouTube video, you understand why season 4 and 5 maybe took a dip. But season 6, 7, 8 took massive, fell off the cliff completely.
Oh, really?
So there was a writer's strike around season 7, so that cut the season down from 24 episodes to 11. There was this bunch of stuff in the background going on. So he crafts this beautiful, well thought out, emotional ending, which ends the show perfectly. And then the studio, and then the TV channel
NBC
goes,
or whatever.
we want another season.
Yeah.
So he says, I'll do it if we can usher in a new set of faces, right?
Yeah.
So they go, let's preface this as Scrubs and then hyphen med school. So as in, it is a new thing. It is not just another season of Scrubs, but the whatever they are, the channel, whichever one it is, said to them, the studio go, just going to be called Scrubs. So it's just season 9 of Scrubs is not actually season 9. So when Bill Lawrence is a director or credited on any of the episodes,
that's what Scrubs.
It comes up with his name and then underneath it says med school. Only him though. So that's an interesting spicy take for that final season.
Weird.
So weird, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's an awful season of that show. It should never have happened. Like you get this.
There's moments though that I did laugh. I remember. Maybe I just was like so young and was eager for more Scrubs.
Yeah, sure.
Because I was a big Scrubs fan too. I don't think I ever watched it all the way through though.
Oh man.
Like I think I like skipped a couple seasons and then came back. And,
you got to do it.
Yeah,
you got to do it.
I met Turk, whatever his real name is.
You told me this.
Yeah,
Donald Faison at a ball game.
Yeah, at a ball game with a bunch of beers in his hand.
Do you want to tell that story one more time?
I just like I was like in the exclusive section of the Dodger stadium. Chavez Ravine, coming back with a bunch of beers, and was like, you know when you're like walking with a bunch of beers. And you're a kid, and you're like not a kid, but like
you were a kid,
old enough to drink, but like you're like, fuck, don't spill it. Like you know what I mean? Like I had like 2 things, and I'm like, these are like $25 each. Like it's so expensive there, dude. And I'm like walking, and I like look up, and I'm about to run into someone, and it's fucking Turk, and I'm just like Turk, and he's like, yeah, like that's not my name, but like he kind of gave me like the eyebrow, like
yeah.
Like, are you that dumb, dude?
He's like, move.
Yeah, like
you're blocking my beers.
Like, I don't want you to spill the beer. Like,
brilliant
with your excitement.
Brilliant. And you never saw him again.
I'm just glad I didn't try and do Flying Eagle and just drop the beer out of the pure habits. It's like Eagle.
I would have definitely done that.
That would have been maybe iconic, maybe expensive.
Very expensive.
Probably a little bit of column A and B.
Little column B. All right, guys, what we like to do now is we like to skip on to our main topic. So, DL.
It's the main topic theme.
Do you want to preface our main topic?
This week, as Tommy said, we are doing a lead up to Halloween with unintentionally funny horror movies.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. That's and like, to be fair,
it's a trilogy.
It is a trilogy. And you texted me this and I was like, oh, sure. That sounds good. And when I hear unintentionally funny, I mean like, oh, it's just going to be so like, I guess like what I thought was going to be just like overtly bloody or just like bad special effects.
Will come some of those.
I'm sure there will be some. But this, my friends, was a gem.
Yeah, it's
because it's like we watched The Happening. I almost called it The Fappening. The Happening, 2008.
Yeah,
and it's almost as if they realized this was a bad movie halfway through and decided let's actually try and be funny.
There's some interesting.
That does feel like what happened.
There's some interesting trivia about this from M. Night Shyamalan, who's like, we tried to make a schlocky B grade movie, right? And no, you didn't. No one intends to go out there.
Especially not him.
When he has all the budget as well.
Especially not him. He's the most
Mark
seriously
Wahlberg.
like big twist kind of guy.
Like,
by the way, when the credits rolled and it said M. Shyamalan, I was like, what? This is him?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So when it came up, like I like spit my water out and like laughed. Like I was like, oh, that makes it even better. Because it's like he's the most like, I'm the big twist guy. I'm a serious movie guy. Like so the fact that he made this movie, it was like both confusing but also awesome.
Yeah. Somewhere there is like a Venn diagram there of like confusing and awesome that this movie sits right in.
Yes.
We're gonna be going full spoilers, guys. We'll talk through the movie, we'll talk a little bit about different parts of it, but before we get into it, you want to see a plot summary for this?
Gotcha, man. I have 2, but I'll keep it to the first one. Best comedy of 2008.
Wait, how did it say? What? Boss Nice, and I've lost it. Go on.
My dumb summary: best comedy of 2008.
It so is, and for a movie that is supposed to be so serious and have such a serious message,
I just don't know. I can't tell if it was meant to be.
Surely it was meant to be serious.
I just like cannot. How can you put this hot dog guy in? Like how?
You know, hot dogs get a bad rap. They got a cool shape. They got protein. You like hot dogs, don't you?
How can you put that in and be like this, like, and then in the same breath say this is meant to be like a horror drama serious movie?
Do you want mine?
Yes.
The least convincing high school teacher ever put on film.
Yes.
In an early audition for Ted, who talks to plastic plants. Like, literally, like, what more do you need from this?
The sheer amount of stuff in this movie that we're just supposed to be on board with that is just absolutely preposterous. Can I just like list a few?
Utter nonsense.
Just like, because we're doing full spoilers.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
That, first of all, that like nature is unknowable when they literally explain what happened right after.
In the first act of the movie.
Yeah, well, it's also like they're trying to do this theme, like it's unknowable. They figure it out right away.
Within minutes.
And then like at the end, they do another thing where they're like, well, why did it only happen here? It's like, well, nature's unknowable, except it was a chemical reaction. I was like, well, what is it? And then
choose.
And then it's
choose
like,
to swim lane.
So that's one. Like, just like that we're supposed to believe that.
Utter nonsense.
The fact that Marky Mark is a science teacher at all, like we're just supposed to accept this is believable. After that terrible first class, where he's just like, name things that don't make sense. What does he say?
Yeah.
It's just like, what is this? Is not teaching.
One of my favorite lines is when he's like,
your nose is growing fast.
One of my favorite things is when he talks to like the kid and he's like,
should be more interested in science, Jake. You know why? Because your face is perfect.
Your face is perfect. It's
Yeah.
like, what? Utter nonsense.
And then just like Zoe Deschanel's entire character.
Like,
I'm just supposed to believe she's a thing.
You mean that mannequin that's in the
I'm
movie?
just supposed to believe that's a thing. Like,
she just has the blankest face.
not to mention their odd relationship troubles where he just like a superfluous bottle of soap. What does he say?
But like, why? I don't. Can we? 1 minute before we get there. Let me just quickly say to you. Listen to this. We're talking about M. Night Shyamalan. Listen to this, right? This is coming off the back, and like it's going to get a little wavy towards the end, but this is coming off the back of The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Signs, The Village, all pretty good movies. Admittedly, then he went for Lady in Water, but like that, like
Never saw that.
that's five pretty solid movies leading into
I would
this.
say like the back half of those are like not bad, not as good as his highs, but not bad.
Do you know what's funny about
I
this
never
movie?
watched. What was the last one? You said
I've never seen Lady
Village?
in the Water. The Village is
The Village I've
2004.
seen, but I forgot what the twist is.
It's
they like
it's
Amish
like
or something?
it's like an Amish community, and they think they're living in the past, but they're actually in the present. They've just been
Lied to.
lied to the whole time. Yeah, correct. Interestingly about this, I sat down to watch this, not realizing it was M. Night
Shyamalan.
but I thought this movie was the movie Signs. From when I didn't read the synopsis, and I thought I was sitting down to watch the movie Signs, and I kept waiting for the aliens to appear, and they just never appeared.
You'd never seen Signs?
No, so I've seen Signs, and I've seen this, but I got them confused in my head. The names switched over. So I was sat there waiting for the aliens to appear, and I was like, when the fuck are they going to get to the house?
The entire plot of the movie
I know.
is about signs and crops. You're an idiot, dude.
I was like, oh, they're going out into the fields. Now they must start seeing the crop signs and stuff. No,
Mel
it's not.
Gibson is nowhere.
It's just...
What do you mean, dude? Isn't what's his name in that movie too? Isn't this
Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah, isn't
he
Joaquin in it? The son?
That's such a
underrated
weird role
movie
for him.
by the
Such a weird role
Is
for him.
Dakota Fanning the daughter?
I think she might be.
Fuck, what a cast.
This cast is pretty interesting. So Mark Wahlberg comes in as Elliot. We've got Zoe Deschanel as Alma, his
As blah.
sort of wife.
As blah.
She's half wife, half stuffed like
That's the
animal.
other thing, we're supposed to just like expect their relationship to be real. Like it's so weird what's
Such
going
a
on
bad
there.
relationship. We've got John Leguizamo. We're going to talk about him in a minute.
Oh my god.
I actually really liked Ashley Sanchez, who's the daughter, the Jess.
Yeah, she's
But-
the only one that played it
Well,
straight.
Well, there's three other people I want to call out from this, and we have two other people. We have Frank Collinson, who's the nursery owner, who's the hot dog guy. What an inspired choice he was! Like, if you're going for unintentional comedy, that choice
don't
of
know if
person,
they were, but
right up there. But the actually good one was the Betty Buckley, who played Mrs. Jones.
Yeah,
Now, that
she was creepy.
We'll talk about her in a little
Yeah.
bit because she was hella creepy.
That was the only part I was actually scared.
Yeah, the whole time. But do you not remember?
You mean the 24 shots of grass blowing in the wind
Didn't
didn't do it for you? How many times do you have to see grass blowing in the wind and trees fluttering in a breeze and a gale before you're frightened, Tommy? I'll tell you how many for me. 25 didn't do it. It still wasn't scary.
It's not a long movie either, so they just fit loads of shots of
Still-
like wind.
I still wasn't freaked out by that.
The scary wind. Look, I actually thought the movie started pretty strong. Like from the get-go,
Shocking.
I was like, well, I mean, considering how it went.
You mean the first scene?
As in that very
I mean, it is
first
kind of
scene.
like weird.
Yeah. So like the first scene literally kicks off and there's this unexplained thing happening around this lady who's sitting on a park bench, sat next to a friend, and a friend is sort of, it's kind of this weird thing where she keeps like repeating herself and then she's like all blurry-eyed.
Kind of feels like she's having a stroke.
Yeah, definitely. and everyone around them kind of stopped and then start reversing a little bit, and they're like, I keep expecting to hear beep beep in the background. Didn't come. But like that bit where she just pulls the chopstick, whatever it is, out of her hair, and
which can I just say you're right, that was probably the high point of the horror in the movie.
Yeah, literally. It's all downhill from
within the 2 minutes. But no, but like let's just like hairpins aren't that easy to stab through your throat.
I don't think so.
Like if so, that's a deadly hairpin. Anyway, that was a little side note. Appreciate
that insight, DL. You know a lot about hairpins.
Can I
clearly
just say when Mark was talking about like bees, where'd the bees go? Where did the bees go?
Like, we're introduced to Wahlberg straight after this, which ruins the whole film. Because he's a high school teacher.
100%. That's the thing. It's like this crazy tone set, and then the next scene is, I don't know what the bees are. Where did the bees go?
About the bees.
Jason, where do you think the bees went? Explain it.
You should take an interest in science.
Yeah, and he's like,
why?
And he's just like, maybe they died. He's like, but they disappeared. We'd see the bodies. Now, it's just like all these terrible explanations from him.
The problem with Mark Wahlberg is that he's the least believable high school teacher ever.
Well, that's the way he played that, yes.
Not even that, just generally.
That was like a bad episode of the Joe Rogan podcast, bro. That was like a lot of people pretending to know a lot about something that they knew nothing about.
100%. And at that point, I was wondering if Mark Wahlberg knew how to act. I was like, what is...
He went like full like weirdo. Yeah. The other side of it was like, I was like, I think I texted you this. I was like, if the punchline to this movie is that the bees
came
back,
are
killing people, like I'm gonna lose my shit.
I was waiting for the bees to come back the whole movie.
I would say it was actually good misdirection.
Quite a good, interesting misdirection. But like, I thought this movie had some interesting
ideas. They kind of
ideas.
did tie to it because they're like, oh, you're fucking the environment, and that's actually what's killing the bees. There was like a loose link.
Was the environment killing the bees?
No, like we are killing the bees.
So the environment's
by fucking
killing
up
us.
The environment. So the environment's killing us. Like,
well, that was explained.
I think it was a loose link.
Yeah,
I might be doing more for the movie.
Yeah, you probably are. Stop adding to this.
Doing some heavy lifting here. some big squats.
In fairness, though, there were some interesting ideas to it.
God,
and like giving it like its due a little bit, like the fact that I know it was wind, but the wind was evolving and like going after smaller and smaller groups, and like the fact that it was like nature fighting back. I kind of was into it for like a hot second until it just got so ridiculous.
I mean, the concept is interesting.
The concept, yeah.
I don't know
that's what I'm trying to get at.
I don't know that it's like anything more than that. Like I don't know how you make that a scary movie
by not making Mark Wahlberg talk to a plastic plant. That's not how you make it.
Or making it more about how like society crumbles and less about like the wind as a villain.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's when they're running across a field and the wind's following them and you're like, no, they're going to come.
And I'm also like, you can't outrun the wind. like it's not a thing. So like, why are you running away? If you're just going to breathe more.
I like
you should just like walk calmly and not breathe as much.
I do like the idea that they all kind of went into like, out of the cities because they thought it's in cities, it's a terrorist attack. I'm really clutching at straws here.
No, it's not even that. I just remembered the construction workers just prancing off the roof, and the fucking
Tony, Steve,
yeah, Dougie, like Dennis, like all these like white collar worker names one by one. And then he just looks up and just like realizes, wait, like something after his 6 of his mates have died, he kind of thinks maybe I should look up and just sees like construction workers just prancing off this this roof construction. Just, God in heaven.
It's man,
it's like, what is this one line?
I had so much fun with this, and like the whole conceit around, it's John Leguizamo,
dude,
and Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel. They're all trying to get out of the cities. They're all trying to escape. They're trying to get away from these things that are going on. I actually kind of like the idea, and it's kind of realistic. It's what you do, right?
Yes, that's fair.
You'd be. I'm trying to be good here.
No, you're right. That is what you do. But can I ask you something?
Please,
because that is what you do, and they do that, and that makes sense. Like, let's get to the in any kind of society's breaking down.
Where is this going?
This is what you want, but. In a stressful situation like that, can I just ask you, can you imagine something like more frustrating and useless to have done?
Zooey Deschanel?
No. in that situation where society is crumbling, it's something more unhelpful and annoying and frustrating than having someone shout at you math riddles.
Oh my God.
To answer math riddles. As you
try and calm you down.
As you're trying to survive an apocalyptic event.
Don't care, John Leguizamo.
Like, oh my God, like, what are we going to do? I don't know. But this car is traveling at 65 miles per hour. It left 4 hours ago.
John bought 7 watermelons.
And there's about 2 people at the weight of 85 kgs in the car. Like,
Brilliant.
when will they arrive at the destination? You're like, shut the fuck up. Like, if someone started yelling at me math riddles in a stressful situation, I would not respond like that woman and just randomly guess. I would punch him in the face.
Probably. It'd be a lot easier. I'm not going to lie to you. It'd be like, shut the fuck up.
Dude, I'm sorry, that's the most absurd thing I've ever seen.
It's really bad. And
what's the square root of 2042? I don't know, but someone's shooting at me. Go away. Like, dude, what? I don't know.
Imagine you're watching The Last of Us and all of a sudden, like Joel's to Ellie.
There's
like,
a clicker.
do your 4 times tables.
Clicking. And he's just like, what's infinity divisible by? I don't fucking know, dude.
Shut up.
I fucking care. I'm sorry. I just found
you're
that
funny,
to be,
son.
No, I just found that to be so absurd. Like,
Well,
why was that a thing he did?
Look, I can't tell you that, but I can tell you I got some serious, like, vibes from this that, like, clearly M. Night Shyamalan was trying to ape or have inspiration from movies such as, like,
Birds.
The Birds, 100%. Things like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I felt all these things while I was watching it, but then you get this awful dialogue laid over the top of it, and then all these weird, like, Zooey Deschanel staring at the camera moments, and I'm just like, how do you take this in any way seriously?
You can't, mate. You can't. When everyone agrees, I can't get over it, that what a good thing to do. Like, I think that he even says, sorry to harp on this, he even says, you know what helps me feel less stressed? And you're like,
John Leguizamo is a math teacher, by the way.
He's a math teacher. One of me less stressed is then I just do math riddles. It's like, that is the most stressful
when
thing
people
ever.
throw stats at you, you get less stressed. Do they? If you were to tell me I was 100% likely to die, I'm not going to feel less stressed.
Anyway.
But I think this is like the pinnacle of 2000s movies, right? Like,
It's iconic.
it's so, I wouldn't go as far as iconic.
It's iconic, dude.
But like, how do you manage to fit like a schlocky B movie into the mid 2000s? It's almost like Anaconda. Like, how this doesn't seem to work in this time.
I mean, at
frame.
least there's a bit, I don't know. Like, the funny part is, like, it kind of, like, it did feel like halfway through there, like, we need to, like, pivot to comedy. Like, when they're like, dude, they're in the field and, like, they realize, like, their group is too big and the soldier's just like, but for armies, my friend. All right, Matt, you're gonna have to cut that because I yelled.
like,
The guy that's, like, leading them turns into, like, Forrest Gump, except, like, crazy.
oh, I mean, so crazy. Isn't he the guy from Succession?
He is.
I think he is the guy from
he is the
Succession.
guy from Succession.
Took a long time for him to get another role after that, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, anyway, they're in too big of a group, and when you're in a big group, like, the thing starts to affect you, and, like, they're running away, and, like, suddenly he starts acting
It finds
irrational.
the big groups.
Yeah, it finds him.
It happens to find big
Yeah,
groups.
it happens. It literally happens.
You know what I found the most off-putting in this was the time they kept trying to like offer like scientific explanations, and I was just sitting there and I was like, "Shut up, Mark
like
Wahlberg."
no one, like no,
Donnie's telling me off. I'm like, "No, it's bad."
and like it was like multiple times throughout the movie they're trying to explain it, and
it's far-fetched.
and none of their theories are even remotely like acceptable to even them.
No,
not even to the viewer. To them, they both look at each other like, "No, that can't be it." I'm like, why are you guys just spitballing right now? Like,
I love
live. Like,
people
it's
keep
like
shutting him down. Then Mark Wahlberg's like, "But what if it's the wind? What if the wind's coming after us?"
Yeah, then
Donnie, the wind.
And she's like, "What do you think?" He's like, "I don't know.
I need time."
Yeah.
It's like, it's such
that's the scene.
Nonsense.
No, that's the scene where I was thinking. So like he goes crazy, and the military guy has a gun, and they start running away because he's acting a fool. And like in the distance, you hear like the gun going off, and it's obviously
and she's screaming at him.
It's obviously all of them like
killing themselves,
slowly picking up the gun and killing themselves, because that's what this toxin does. It makes you kill yourself. Have we even explained that?
No, I think what the toxin does is it removes one of the chemicals in your brain, which stops you hurting yourself.
No, but not only stops you, encourages you to hurt yourself.
Well, that's it. Because that chemical's gone, like people are encouraged to kill themselves off the back of that.
I guess. Anyway, so like, boom.
Nonsense.
Everyone
science.
picks up the gun and just round by round.
Yeah.
And it's like, you just hear this in the background, like, pew, pew, and it's supposed to be this serious moment, but it's like comical because like it's just like interrupting their conversation, and she's like, and it's just
screaming at him.
And he's like, just give me a minute. I don't know what to do. And it's kind of just like,
we gotta go back.
Dude, it feels like a comedy because it's like, she's like saying things that are not real lines. Like she's like, we can't just be uninvolved observers. I'm like, that sounds literally like, that sounds like
an AI wrote that.
Or like you were doing it in like an improv class.
Maybe.
You know, like it didn't feel like an actual written line.
Mate, she was so weird in this.
It was like, she was the reason I thought it was a comedy.
Yeah, there's compilation videos on YouTube of just like, zooming in on her in the background, and she looks so lost. She's just sort of like staring, and like she's not even like, so like she's meant to be looking at Mark Wahlberg who's giving advice or whatever, and she's just sort of just aimlessly staring around. It's the weirdest shit. Her reactions are genuinely like laughable,
and so is his dialogue with her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm talking about a completely superfluous bottle of cough syrup. Sorry, like I don't even know what to say.
Because like one of the points of the movie is that their marriage is kind of failing, right? And they're sort of
they're not willing to accept it either, kind of.
Yes.
It feels
but
like.
She's kind of pulling away and he's trying to make it work.
Yes.
And between them, they're both really awkward. So none of it seems to help. John Leguizamo, love the guy.
Aggressive
lots
tactics.
Of fun. So aggressive.
Aggressive tactics.
For no reason at all times.
Don't you hold my daughter's hand unless you mean it. It's like, bro, if that's the way you feel, why did you give her your daughter during an apocalypse, bro?
At all times.
Like, can we agree?
I was pretty sure it was going to come out that she'd cheated on him. I was sure that was going to happen, and John Leguizamo knew. That's why he was, being weird around Mark Wahlberg.
And why he left his daughter with them.
Well, no. The reason I thought it was going to be that was because the way he was so rude to her the whole time.
I understand.
But then why leave your daughter with this person? But the way he dies, sorry to cut ahead here, like beautiful. Not the way he dies, sorry, that's a bit fucked up. But the way they, like, the car rams into the tree and that dude just flies out. I was like, if you're talking about unintentional comedy, I was like, that is brilliant.
I also thought it was funny that, like, the slit, like, in the fucking... literally like in there, what do they have?
Oh, the tiniest thing in the
they're like
in the
a
Jeep,
soft top Jeep, and the slit in the fabric is like what did it? It's like, guys, like the air,
the Jeep Cherokee, whatever it
blow
was,
through the car. Like there's multiple holes.
Can we go back a little bit then?
Fucking air.
If we're talking about bad performances, can we just talk
an airlock
just for a moment about Frank Collinson, the nursery owner, who is the hot dog guy? Believable. What's going on with that guy?
The guy likes.
I mean, you'd want to take hot dogs with you, right?
He likes. I mean, they preserve well.
He explains the whole plot of the movie in that like first act of this.
Might be the tree. Like they can
the trees
can communicate.
They can communicate with each other.
Bushes talk to plants, and plants talk to trees, and trees talk to shrubbery.
It's so weird and so so intense.
Line, dude.
The whole time. Does he die in it?
We never get the closure to his story.
No, we don't. Maybe
I like to think he's alive.
There should be a spin-off.
I like to think he made it.
He's just come back to his
He might have been one of those people, though, that got shot.
Maybe he was. Was he with that group?
Well, they were all together.
That would be sad.
But then I think they split up.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I wanted him to live.
kind of wanted him to survive. Yeah. So what they do is they go into fields, they split up because they realize that this wind, this toxin, is coming after big groups of humans.
Gale.
Right? This is all in one day, by the way. This isn't out of the realms of
and they keep, like, acting like they know it's going to end quickly. Like,
no,
very early.
They think they're like,
these things. No, they're like, these things can happen quickly. They rise and they fall. They say that. Like, Mark's like saying that.
That was a great Mark Wahlberg
And I'm just like, what are you on about? Like, how would you know?
Great question. He's a science teacher, though. Yeah. So, like, Donnie, tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I think as it sort of like, it progresses, it slows down in the sense of it's not in a big city, but also it gets kind of more intense because it feels like this thing is honing in on the main group. And it's kind of like, it gets real intense for a minute there. And I feel like this phenomenon kind of just keeps chugging along and keeps evolving and like chasing them down. I feel like the pacing actually really works quite well in this, annoyingly.
I loved this movie.
Did you?
Pacing was great.
This is going on Mount Rushmore of movies.
This is a great movie. The pacing was great.
Well, I mean, it's like a classic horror trope, isn't it? Right? You're whittling down the characters.
Yeah.
The black dude goes first.
Yeah. The wind is taking them down one by one.
The wind is taking them down.
It did.
And when they get to Mrs. Jones's house, which is a really big plot point in this.
That was so weird. What was up with that girl? That woman?
What was going on with her?
She had issues.
But what? She'd cut herself off from society. Had her husband died or something?
I don't know. I guess that's part
She had
of the
that
reason
doll?
why it's so mysterious.
Yeah. Do you reckon it's just we need a spin-off
Small
about
town,
her?
small person.
That's what we need. Give me a spin-off about the Mrs. Jones spin-off.
Small town, big problems. I don't know.
Well, she was cut off from society. She didn't have a phone. Had no way of knowing what was going on. Her death scene, primo.
Yeah.
Just goes nuts. And
You knew that was coming as well.
yeah.
You're
Well,
like,
I
that
thought
window's breaking. She's going to slam her head into the window.
I thought she might be resistant to it somehow because she's been away from society for so long. I wasn't sure, but like I just feel like that,
the hermit antibody.
or she was like a cannibal or something weird. You know what I mean? Like there's always one. There's always one of them in these movies. She's
like just randomly throw that in.
just why not? Okay.
Honestly, she gave cannibal vibes.
She gave cannibal vibes.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
It was big vibes.
As far as I've seen cannibal vibes, she gave them.
In terms of like action, then like I
Yeah.
feel like it does action quite subtly. This film, you know, like there's not a lot.
I mean, honestly, that was the worst part of the movie.
The action was mostly...
What action? You mean like when they're running from the wind? It's like, dude. I guess the
Killing
action,
themselves.
like when the car like slams into the.
Well, the other thing I was thinking of, there is a scene slightly before that when Mark Wahlberg, Zoe Deschanel, and Jess, the kid, are with two other sort of teenage
I
kids.
forgot about that. Those the street rats,
The street
absolute
rats.
rascals.
And they go up to a house and they're let me finish it. They go up to a house and they're trying to ask for help. They want some food. The
Is that
daughter's
what
getting,
they're doing? Yeah,
but then the two teenagers, just get real angry out of nowhere.
big time punks,
And they just get big balls on them out of like nowhere and start like kicking the door like losers, let us in, all this like shouting, and then like these guns just pop through and just like blow the shit out of them.
doesn't work out well for them.
Not well at all. There is one thing I wanted to mention about that scene. And you know, these people, they're holed up in their house. They're trying not to let other people in so they don't let the wind in and stuff. And Mark Wahlberg does this fabulous thing of being like, hey, we're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with us. And then he just starts singing that fucking weird song.
We're perfectly normal. Oh, Blackwater, keep on rolling.
Out of
You thought
nowhere.
they'd like singing some like 1930s slave
my
tune,
God,
some Mississippi slave tune or some shit was like
so
would
weird.
be the fucking way to make them think, oh yeah, this guy's sound of
It's like-
sound mind and heart.
This guy's
It's like,
not
what,
messed up.
dude? Like,
we got to talk about it before we move on then. Before we move off action. Let's talk about the famous lawnmower scene because this is actually famous in this movie.
that was kind of gnarly, dude.
It's just such nonsense. Like so what happens is the groups,
It's gruesome.
they find this like made house, like it's made for like show. It's one of those, right? Like
Yes.
it's almost Indiana Jones. You know, it's almost fridging. And Mark Wahlberg's group find it first. They go in, they find there's no real food there. It's all plastic and made for show. They leave, but as they leave, the bigger other group catches up to the house, but the wind, the happening, manages to catch up to them.
happens.
And it's just so weird. What happens is this dude, he walks up to a lawnmower, like a big, like sit and ride one,
Fills it up with gas.
flicks it on, takes his
Just-
time, has a cigarette while he's doing it, and he flicks it on, and then it goes in a big circle, and he just guesses, I assume, by the trajectory and trigonomics.
Yes.
That maths is a big part of this film,
Yes.
obviously, and so
Yes.
is science.
And nature.
And it comes back around, and he just sort of like lies down and puts one arm in the and the thing just like chews him up and spits him out. And it's so unintentionally, it's played so straight. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like giggling to myself, like, is there something wrong
He
with
also
me?
just like flops.
Yeah. He like,
Well, it's just like he like so businesslike.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he just walks up. That's why I made the joke, like filled up with gas,
Yeah.
checked the safety, sharpened it a bit, fucking made sure, like made
It's
sure that
so odd
yeah.
in like
It
a
is.
funny way. And then we skipped on a little bit, but then they get to the Mrs. Jones house, and then the film effectively concludes with the fact that just like a one-off thing, just lasts a day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sat there going, this is an M. Night Shyamalan film. I'm like, what's the big twist going to be?
Nothing.
What's the twist?
Thought it was the
gonna be,
bees.
guys?
I thought
What's
the
the
bees were
twist?
coming.
I thought the bees were coming back. I thought, I was waiting for the bees. I was still waiting for Mel Gibson to show up
Yeah,
and
dude.
throw water on an alien. I
Dude,
worked it out by this point.
But the weirdest part about this movie is that they just like keep using this like expectation that like it's almost like they want us to forget that we know the main thing is that the people kill themselves. Like every
Okay.
time the punchline is, oh, they've killed themselves.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they look up and it's a bunch of hanging bodies and they're like, oh no. And then it's like, she's on the phone with the daughter who's alone. She's like waiting for time. I'm like, we know what's going to happen. She's going to kill herself.
It's going to happen.
And then it's like the same thing with Mrs. Jones. And it's like this like the lead up. It's like, guys, this isn't surprising anymore.
Kind of zombie-esque in a weird way.
It's like we know what's coming here. Yeah.
It's got a bit of like 28 days later. It's got a bit of that in there as well.
It does have that vibe, but not the...
Do you not think it was such a damp squib ending though? Like they're just outside and they're like, oh, I guess it stopped.
And you're like, how do you know?
Yeah, like sure, maybe the wind just didn't get you that time.
There's multiple moments that the wind wasn't getting you.
Yeah.
It's like...
You were running through the grass and the wind wasn't getting you. Maybe it's just not getting you now.
I think that's the funny part. It's just so like convenient when they want, like
it's so convenient.
It's so convenient as an enemy. Like, oh, I guess the plot needs to go here. So now
What talk to me a little bit then. Like, do you think there are any actual like themes in this movie or like tone? I know the tone is supposed to be horror, but it's definitely not.
I don't think there's a single theme in this movie.
Look,
think about like what? No, what?
There are
what?
Like,
other than nature.
Other than environmental, humanity's impact on it.
Yes, that's it.
Humanity's vulnerability, our reliance on technology. It's all there.
Reliance on technology.
It's all there.
Where's that?
The fact that the lawnmower runs him over.
It's the only thing is environmentalism. Like, you'd be better.
Pretty much. It's pretty much that. And we are pretty vulnerable. Like if tomorrow, like
if tomorrow
tsunami just came up, we'd be screwed.
If tomorrow, like some MacGuffin thing that can make me kill myself happens, yes. If tomorrow a fucking tsunami came, I wouldn't just suddenly kill myself.
That's probably.
I would probably go to high ground, Anakin.
Well, you say that, but then it didn't help those builders, did it?
I'm on Bellevue Hill, bro.
No, but it didn't help the builders on top of the building.
It didn't help them.
Ooh, you might be jumping off the balcony.
Yes.
All right, what we like to do now, guys, is we like to give you 3 best and 3 worst. And what that is 3 reasons why you might want to watch this movie and 3 reasons why you might not. If you got to this point and don't think we're both going to say that unintentional humor, there's probably something wrong with you. You might be in the happening itself. But we normally do this spoiler free, wouldn't we? But as we've spoiled it, it doesn't really matter. DL, what are your 3 best and 3 worst?
My 3 best. I'm doing it on the fly. Mark Wahlberg talking to a plastic plant. Just in general, his like appreciation for the fact that his agent wanted him to do a drama horror, but he really wanted to do a comedy and he persevered. So I'm giving him that.
He pushed through.
Yeah, that's 1. 2, just like the absurd tone of this movie.
Just all over the place.
Like that, I guess that's kind of piggybacking on 2.
Yeah.
But and then 3, what would it be, man?
Well, just the unintentional humor. Sure, we've both got that.
Yeah, for sure, the unintentional humor. I mean, like all 3 of them are the same thing. I think like 3, how tight it is. This is not like a movie that's like, I don't think there was a lot of like
fat.
Like how long is
forever?
How long is this movie? I'm gonna look now.
I think it's like under 2 hours. Certainly under 2 hours. I'll tell you mine while you're looking it up. I obviously had the unintentional humor. I actually thought the kid wasn't really annoying. I thought she was like pretty good. She acted like a real kid would in those situations. She was just scared.
Yes.
Thought she was a good actor. And I thought the Mrs. Jones scenes were genuinely
a good point.
Quite scary.
That's a good point. But it's so shocking that it was
the kid's hand.
Yeah, it's just the build up. It's just shocking that it was scary though.
The bit that shocked me about that was like no one reacted to that stuff. Yeah. Like when you're introduced to Mrs. Jones, who is this cannibal vibe, and she's basically talking down to Mark Wahlberg, this dude who he's a hunk, right? He's jacked. He's a big bloke. He doesn't hurt people. That's not his personality. But like she is literally tearing him a new one, someone she's never met before. And then she's like, I guess I should invite him for supper. And if I was Mark Wahlberg, I'd be like, fuck you, I don't need your food, you bitch.
Yeah.
Like, why are you like this?
Yeah.
What? Who hurt you? And then, like, she's inside.
Well, you do need her food because the wind is coming.
Yeah, they have to get out of the wind. Yeah. But, like, the kid reaches over for, like, a cookie and she, like, slaps it.
I liked that part.
I liked it too, but if I'm Mark Wahlberg, I'm turning around to him going, bitch, like, you're old. I will snap your neck.
It's not her kid, his kid, though. They're kind of, like, sacked on with this kid. They don't really know.
Surrogate, but, like...
they're not, like, the dad, like, you know what I mean?
I get that, but, like, surely you're looking after her. You've been, like, tasked to keep her safe.
I don't know. Maybe you're kind of like really annoyed with this guy throwing math riddles at you, and you're like, "Good riddance, bro."
Maybe you're still trying to work it out. Maybe that's his whole character. He's trying to work out the math riddle.
That's why he's so confused
the whole time.
Dude, this movie is an hour and a half long.
Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect length for this film. What are your worst?
My worst are the math riddle guy. My
John
worst
Leguizamo.
are the just like this absurdity of like saying all like really just telling us that all this stuff is unknowable and then just explaining all of it.
Every
Like just the
time.
contradictory.
It's almost like mansplaining it at you the
Yes,
whole time.
yes.
It's like, you don't get this, but here
But
it
like,
is.
and you can't get this, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you all about it.
You're not going to understand this, but I'll tell you anyway.
Yeah. And then just like the amount of shots I had to watch of wind.
Oh, so many shots of wind.
Like this is like it was as if I was like an arborist. You know what I mean? Like I had to like,
unbelievable.
you know, watch trees in the wind.
Well, mine is Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel's relationship is completely unbelievable.
Terrible.
From the moment they're on screen together till the end of the film, nothing is like even remotely realistic. There's no chemistry. It's just bad.
I guess like maybe that's good because that's what they were supposed to have. No chemistry. They're like
Maybe they were
having
both
issues.
trying to work
Maybe that's
out the
the
math
point.
problem the whole time.
No, you know what I mean? Like that was her point. Like she wasn't feeling it, you know, and like they had no chemistry and she made a mistake.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, I'm
Whatever.
giving him a lot of heavy lifting here.
There are so many shots of wind. Like, it's not scary. Like,
You can't
it's
really
not-
see wind.
You can't, and like, it's not like a monster's gonna pop out, but they also tell you super early on, so you're like just watching for wind. You're like, why the fuck am I sitting here watching for wind? And my last one was just the fact that, like,
I didn't.
it doesn't know what it is. Like, it should just, they should have gone, like, I know retrospectively, M. Night Shyamalan was like, this is a B movie, but like, they should have at the beginning gone, this is a B movie. Let's really lean into this. But it clearly tries to be, you know, more than it is. All right, we normally do this up top, but let's do this now, DL. As we're about to do our famous rating system, before we do, let's talk about some real ratings. Can you guess for me the current IMDb score for this?
Nice.
What do you think it is?
5.
It is 5. 5 out of 10. You're right, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, well, guess this time. Bloody
Okay,
hell.
sorry, man.
Can you guess for me the current Rotten Tomatoes score percentage?
42.
Oh, you're really generous to this. It's 18%.
18, but I like it, dude. You know when something's so bad, it's good. It's
Yeah,
one of these.
that is this.
Yeah.
100%. And finally, controversially, can you guess for me the Letterboxd score out of 5? Now, we've been very clear that this is always 2.6. It's always
no, it's
that.
always 3.5.
It's always 3.6 without fail. So can you guess what the Letterboxd score is?
Dude, this is all fans, yeah?
This is only, this is non-critics. This is all
4.
2 out of 5.
Oh, man.
I think you're enjoying this
I'm
movie more
high
than
on
real
this movie,
people.
dude. I'm high on it.
All right, finally, then, what we do is we like to give our famous rating system. We don't give a 5 out of 10. We don't say 4 Donnies out of 5 Mark Wahlbergs. We don't say 12 Zooey Deschanel's looking off into the distance out of 5. What we do is we do binary. Is this better or worse than the most average movie we know, which is Aquaman 2018?
This is so much worse than Aquaman 2018 that it's better. You know, like
It's come full circle.
yeah, it's like that. It's so much better as well.
Interesting.
Like the, you know,
What?
OB.
No, Donnie.
Like OB.
It's just so bad. I had to say worse.
Really?
Yeah, I had a
Oh,
lot of
man.
fun. I think I'm having more fun in hindsight talking to you about it than I had
Oh,
watching
dude,
it.
I loved it. I'll watch
Watching
it again tonight.
it, like, yeah, in retrospect, those things are funny, but when you're actually in the moment, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I want to watch it tonight and make Gail watch it and just see what she makes of it.
Yeah, you should absolutely do that. She would hate it.
I think she might like it. It's so bad. Her taste in movies is terrible.
Interesting. Well, let me know. Feedback.
I'll let me
Feedback next week. So what we finally do now is, guys, we like to wrap up with a little bit of true or false trivia. What I do is I give Joey a piece of trivia, and he lets me know if he thinks it's true or if it's false. You know, true or false trivia. Makes sense, right?
That's up.
DL, true or false? During pre-production, M. Night Shyamalan described the film as a paranoia movie based on the likes of Psycho. Is that true or is that false? From 1960.
I never saw Psycho, so I can't tell you whether or not it's like that. But what I will say is true.
It's not. It's false. Movies from the 1960s, such as The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock. I went for another Hitchcock film.
Okay.
And ironically, 1956 is The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I
You
got
already
those
told me
vibes.
this.
I got
Yeah.
those vibes when I was watching it. I thought it was really interesting. True or false, DL?
Yeah.
Bystander apathy is a real psychological phenomenon with a strong theoretical evidence base. True or is it false?
I'm going to go against my better judgment and say false because I don't want that to be true.
Actually true.
Yeah.
And that was what I was getting at before.
Yeah.
It's a bit fucked up, but it's certainly interesting. I mean, like,
Is it certainly interesting?
there's other things as well, like diffusion of responsibility. Like if you're in an apartment block, right, and you can hear someone getting murdered outside, the likelihood is no one in that building is going to call the police because they think someone else will do it. It's absolutely baffling how people's brains work.
Mm.
I would call immediately. but like the likelihood is in like a general building, no one calls the police. Madness. All right, couple more.
Yeah.
True or false, DL? The leading female character, Alma, of course, played fantastically by Zooey Deschanel, was written for actress Amy Adams. Is that true or is that false?
Amy Adams. This is 2008.
Yeah.
False.
It's actually true.
Like, she wasn't written for anyone. She wasn't written at all, dude.
However, she rejected the role. Thank God. Imagine having this on your CV. She could have brought some gravitas to it, but with alongside.
I don't know. I
Wahlberg.
think it would be funny if she was doing it.
Finally, then, DL, the exact answer to Julian's math riddle.
Oh God. Which
with
one?
the average month having 30 days is $10,737,418.23. True or is that false?
10,000.
10 million.
I'm just naming a number instead of
Okay.
true or false because that's what the lady did.
It's true. It's actually true. Julian actually got it wrong in a movie because they did a sum total of all the days, not just the average. So technically, Julian, fuck you and your maths questions.
Well, it didn't work out for him. Colin, it did not work out at all.
Oh man, I had a great time talking about this movie. I had less good time watching it, but a great time talking about it.
I had a good time doing both, and really, we'd love to hear from you if you had a good time listening.
Yeah.
You know?
Where can they find us?
They can find us at Podcast Assemble on Instagram or thepodcastassemble@gmail.com.
So yeah, you can hit us up. Let us know what you think about the movie. Did you see it? Did you not see it? Send us weird news. We love it when you do. DL's going to keep bringing weird news, even if we don't do a specific news section.
Best.
But DL, before we wrap up, I'm going to ask you one last time.
Yeah.
How, on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, good do you think Mark Wahlberg's accent is?
Fuck, I gotta go back. 5 stars.
5 stars.
It's 10 stars, actually.
You should hit us up with that 5 stars. We
10
would
stars.
really appreciate it. And you can pass the pod on to your friends. DL, do you want to wrap up the pod?
Of course I do, man. And if you really like this, you should be thanking not only Tommy, not only me, but a big thank you to Matthew Bliss for editing and mastering
Thank you,
this
Matt.
episode. And if you'd like to hire someone to edit your podcast, head to MatthewBliss.net and book a consultation today. And if you want to hear his work specifically targeted to those who are kind of expats, repats, interested in travel,
Or
go
if you
check
just
out.
want a good, wholesome podcast.
If you just want good vibes,
Good vibes for your day.
the best vibes.
The best vibes.
Where
do we go, Donald Trump?
Go check out his podcast, From My Home to Yours. It's fucking wholesome, man.
It's a beautiful podcast.
It's really,
and
really
him
wholesome.
and his wife have a really great time making it. It's totally worth checking out. And if you guys want to know what the next part of our trilogy is, come back for next week because
Tune in
we
next week.
are doing another unintentionally funny horror movie. And there's 2 more to go. I'm so excited.
Somehow I don't think it's going to beat The
I
Happening.
don't think it can be happening, but I will have a lot of fun talking to you about it.
Bloody gore. Is that what we're getting next week? We'll
Oh,
see.
you're going to find out.
All right.
Thanks for popping by, guys.
Until next time, guy.
Tally ho!
Tell you.
Ladies, guys.
Planning on stealing something?
No, ma'am, we're not.
Plan on murdering me in my sleep?
What? No. What? No. What? No. What? No. Ma'am, we're not. What? No. What? No. What? No. What?
I hear you whispering.
What? No. What? No. What? No. What? No. No, ma'am, we're not.